Hey guys, welcome to a brand new well, not episode. This is a brand new video. God, I have so much of a habit saying episode. So I want to talk about something that's really near and dear to me, and something that I've become more of an advocate for over the last couple of years, and that's being mental health and how that is something that in the gay community we need to talk about more without the stigma. There's a stigma everywhere, but I think the gay community we have so many other aspects of our like formative years and our childhood and just our whole experience. I feel like a lot of our experiences are traumatic in where we start in the gay community, and I think that's something that we need to start talking about and start unpacking and start actually dealing with. um so my journey with mental health actually came after I had a really tough breakup about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. And I didn't want to go to therapy at first because I was afraid. First, I was like, I'm not crazy, which is like the first thing most people say. Like, I'm not crazy. I don't need therapy. And I just noticed that my life kept spiraling out of control and just got to a point where I just needed to speak to somebody, a professional, to like really help me cope with what was going on with me. And just in general, just a lot of the stuff that happened to me prior to that that were traumatic that I need to like really deal with because I had never really dealt with a lot of stuff that happened to me. And I think that the gay community, especially, we need to like really deal with a lot of our gay, I'm not on gay trauma, just deal with a lot of trauma that we have, like just day to day. I think I was reading an article about how how traumatic being on Grinder can be, how easily accessible sex is, but how inaccessible making connections is and whatnot. And I found it to be really eye opening because I think that mental health in the gay community is something we need to really like make less of a stigma behind because we all have like our own issues and traumas and stuff like that, and actually getting help is a good thing. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I know that there's a big, like, I don't want to say population, but a lot of gay men have experienced like sexual abuse and sexual trauma in their early age, and a lot of them feel like that has made them gay, or feel like that's a part of them, or attribute to them being gay. And I think a lot of them need to. I think a lot of gay people need to like deal with that because that's a really real thing. Like, I know a lot of people that I've been friends with over the years who have had like who have been raped as a child or have been raped as like a teenager, and it shaped them as a person and shaped how they view people and how they deal with stuff. And it's really terrible that they still move through life with that trauma and they're holding it in. And I think mental health is something that we need to be more conscious of. I think there should be more resources for men. I mean, there are resources right now for mental health, especially for gay individuals. But I think that there needs to be a more of a what's the word? I think there should be more of an emphasis on actually going about seeking treatment and seeking help when you know you need it. Especially when you, I think when you know that yeah, there's something wrong, I need to probably see a therapist about it. I think that's something that we need to start embracing and start encouraging more of. I think the encouragement part is something that we need to start talking about more. Because there's another part that I'll talk about a little bit later. I just thought of it, just came to my brain. Um, just the whole idea of we embrace people wanting to. Well, I guess I'll talk about it now. We embrace people want to go, go to the gym and go to like go to the gym and like try to have a healthier lifestyle, but we never talk about having a healthy mental lifestyle. Like, we don't talk about any of that stuff. Like, we don't talk about how just because you go to the gym doesn't gonna make you feel better about yourself. Like, I feel like a lot of gay men who have body image issues would probably benefit from seeking like medical attention on top of going to the gym, because at that point they would be fixing the inside and the out. I think that a lot of times with gay men we don't fix the inside, we fix the outside more so and hope that that will fix the inside, and that's just not how any of that works. And I think in general that would probably be really beneficial to people who are like overweight and obese or just like want to just change their lifestyle. Like, I think that adding a mental health component to that would be really beneficial because a lot of people who are overweight, like myself and like a lot of other people that I know, there's a lot of like issues with their image, and a lot of it tends to be just from mental like disruption as far as like how they feel about themselves or body dysmorphia. Like, a lot of people, a lot of gay men have body dysmorphia. It is astounding, and yet there's no one going out to treat that. They just think, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna get ripped, I'm gonna have abs, I'm gonna feel better about myself. A lot of them have so many image issues about themselves and poor self-image, and I think a lot of that comes from not really knowing how to like navigate their mental health, and just knowing, having tools and resources to be able to figure that stuff out. And relationships, like, we go through a lot of like relationships, and I think for gay men we put such emphasis on our friendships and relationships because a lot of us don't have like family, so our chosen family becomes like our number one priority, and when we lose that, it can be really traumatic. It can be almost like life or death for some because they don't have, you know, the resources besides the friends that they've accumulated over the years. And there's no resources or like places to try to like figure that stuff out as far as like how that affects you mentally, or like our relationship with sex. Like a lot of that comes from like really bad places and really bad like self-image issues and low self-esteem and insecurities. I'm not saying everybody that just like goes out and has sex has like low self-esteem and stuff like that, but I know there's a lot of them that do, and they use sex as an outlet for that. And I know for me personally, like I definitely use sex as a way to feel better about myself, and it doesn't work. It's a very temporary fix, but it's not like a long lasting fix. It's not sustainable at all. And I think that, you know, seeing a therapist and whatnot would be helpful for people, especially gay men. We definitely could use that type of like knowledge and that help that would probably have a better life after it. And yeah, I just think that there needs to be more of an advocacy for mental health in the gay community. I think that like the only thing you hear about in the gay community is getting HIV tested, getting tested for HIV and to STDs, and even that, like, that could be a traumatizing experience. Just going to get tested for HIV is sometimes a lot to do. Like people have anxiety, so people won't even go to get tested because they just feel like they just don't want to know. And I feel like there needs to be more of a there needs to be a component added to it. I think that mental health needs to be way more important than what it is right now. I feel like it's only important for certain instances, but like it needs to be like right there at number one with everything else. And it goes hand in hand with everything in life. Like I talked about relationships earlier. Actually, I'm gonna do a video specifically on how to like deal with traumatic breakups. I feel like there's not a lot of people who talk about how to deal with that, so I'm gonna do that later. But I think that mental health is something that we need to put more of an emphasis on, and we need to encourage other people to seek find resources to help with their mental health, and just talk about it more openly. Because I think the shame and the stigma behind it is the reason why people just don't even figure out, they won't even like deal with it. They just say, "Oh, I'll deal with it myself," or they just self-medicate and just like smoke weed or have a lot of sex or drink and stuff like that to deal with a lot of stuff that they're trying to like cope with. So yeah, I think mental health is so important. I think that we need to put more emphasis and encourage people to try to keep their mental health in stable condition. So yeah, that's my take. I hope that you enjoyed it. What do you guys think about mental health? Do you think that gay men need to be a little bit more conscious about it? Do you think that there's such a stigma and negative like association with it, people just don't even care? Let me know. Please comment, like, and share this video with people you know. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.